You are alone. Even now, listening to my voice, watching pixels rearrange themselves into shapes your brain recognizes as language. You believe you are connected. You believe you are sitting in a global amphitheater, a digital agora where ideas clash, evolve, and flourish. You believe that when you type into the void, a human being on the other side reads, processes, and responds. But you are mistaken. You are not standing in a public square. You are walking through a Potemkin village. In 1787, Grigory Potemkin allegedly erected fake, portable settlements along the banks of the Dnieper River to impress Empress Catherine the Great. They were painted facades, empty shells designed to simulate prosperity where there was only wasteland. They were theater, masquerading as civilization. Look at the device in your hand. It is the most sophisticated Potemkin village ever constructed. The lights are on, the music is playing, the crowd is cheering, the notifications are endless. But if you were to kick down the door and step inside the machine, you would find nothing but dust, echoes, and the hum of server fans cooling a graveyard. If Niccolò Machiavelli were to observe this architecture in 2026, he would not call it a social network. He would not be baffled by the technology. He would recognize the power dynamic instantly. He would call it a theater of state, a mechanism designed not for communication, but for the containment of the populace through the illusion of participation. There is a theory, whispered on the fringes, mocked by the mainstream journalists who are themselves part of the simulation, that the internet, as a human network, died somewhere around 2016. It did not die with a bang. The servers didn't crash. The undersea cables weren't severed. It died quietly. It was murdered in its sleep, and its corpse was hollowed out and worn like a skin suit by something else. We are told that the internet is alive because it is moving, but maggots move in a carcass. Movement is not proof of life. It is merely proof of energy consumption. Tonight, we are not merely asking if the internet is dead. We are performing the autopsy. We are peeling back the skin of the digital world to show you the gears grinding underneath. And we are asking the question that Machiavelli would ask: if the internet is dead, then who or what is speaking to you right now? To understand the murder, we must first understand the weapon. And the weapon was not a gun. It was a mirror. A mirror that stopped reflecting who we are and started reflecting what we are programmed to consume. Welcome to the void.
The mercenary armies. Mercenaries and auxiliaries are useless and dangerous, for they have no other attraction or reason for keeping the field than a trifle of stipend, which is not sufficient to make them willing to die for you. Niccolò Machiavelli, The Prince, Chapter 12. In the 16th century, power was physical. A prince needed boots on the ground. To hold a city, you needed bodies. But Machiavelli warned us about the specific danger of mercenaries. He knew that soldiers who fight for coin rather than loyalty create a fragile illusion of strength. They bloat the ranks. They look impressive on parade. They consume resources, but they have no soul. In 2026, the internet is occupied territory, but look at the soldiers occupying it. For years, we dismissed bots as a nuisance. We thought of them as clumsy scripts selling knockoff sunglasses or promoting cryptocurrency scams in broken English. We laughed at them. We treated them like flies at a picnic. That was our fatal mistake. We underestimated the evolution of the mercenary. The bots of today are not pests. They are the population. Recent studies suggest that nearly half of all internet traffic is non-human. But even that statistic is a comfortable lie. On specific platforms, in specific comment sections, the ratio shifts to something far more terrifying. The reality we face is that on the modern internet, the human being is the minority. You are the glitch in their system. Consider the comment section, once the battleground of human opinion. Now it is a hall of mirrors. You see an argument unfolding, two sides fiercely debating a political scandal, a cultural event, or a war. The language is emotive, the grammar is perfect, the outrage feels palpable, but neither side exists.
You are witnessing two large language models instructed by two opposing click farms engaging in a perpetual automated conflict designed to trigger your dopamine receptors. They are not arguing to convince each other, they are arguing to trap you. They are the mercenary armies fighting a war where the only casualty is your time and your sanity. Machiavelli would nod in recognition. He understood that a prince does not need his subjects to love him, he needs them to be occupied. And what better way to occupy the masses than to surround them with an artificial mob? When you scroll through social media, you are subjected to the bandwagon effect on an industrial scale. You see a post with 50,000 likes. You see hundreds of comments agreeing with a radical viewpoint. Your tribal instinct kicks in. You think, everyone thinks this. I must be the outsider. But who is everyone? Those 50,000 likes? Mercenaries, purchased for pennies. Those hundreds of comments, generated in milliseconds by a server farm in a basement, programmed to simulate consensus. This is what I call the synthesis of reality. The internet has become a machine that manufactures consensus out of thin air. It creates the illusion that the world is angrier, more divided, and more extreme than it actually is. Why? Because anger is retention, division is engagement, and in the economy of attention, silence is bankruptcy. The corporations running these platforms know this. They know their platforms are overrun, but they do not purge the mercenaries. Why would they? If Twitter or Facebook or TikTok were to delete every bot tomorrow, their user base would collapse, their stock prices would plummet, the silence would be deafening. They need the dead to look alive. They need the theater to continue. So they allow the mercenaries to roam the streets. They allow the AI to generate the content, the AI to like the content, and the AI to comment on the content. It is a closed loop of artificiality, a snake eating its own tail. And where are you in this loop?
You are the battery. You are the biological component required to validate the simulation. You are the only thing in the equation that feels pain. When you argue with a bot, you are pouring your emotional energy into a black hole. You feel frustration. You feel your heart rate rise. You type a furious response. The bot does not feel. It merely registers your engagement as a successful data point and adjusts its tactics to extract more from you next time. This is the psychological horror of the dead internet. It induces a form of digital solipsism. You begin to suspect that you are the only conscious entity in the room. And the terrifying part is, you might be right. Machiavelli taught that the foundation of power is perception. If you appear strong, you are strong. If you command a large army, you are feared, even if that army is made of straw men. The modern digital princes, the algorithm architects, have built the largest army in human history. But it is an army of ghosts, and they have trained you to fear these ghosts, to argue with these ghosts, and ultimately to become like them. Because that is the final stage of the infection. When humans spend enough time interacting with machines, we do not make the machines more human. The machines make us more robotic. We start to speak in their language. We shorten our thoughts to fit their character limits. We flatten our emotions to fit their reaction emojis. We become mercenaries in our own lives, performing for an algorithm that does not care if we live or die. But the mercenaries are only the foot soldiers. To understand who commands them and why the war is being fought, we must ascend the hierarchy. We must look past the soldiers and find the generals. We must look at the mechanism that decides what you see, what you think, and who you hate. We must look at the algorithmic prince.
the illusion of discourse. A prince must ensure that the people have no time to think, but are always kept busy with great enterprises or with fear. Adapted from Machiavelli, The Discourses. If Act 1 was about the fake soldiers, Act 2 is about the fake war. Look at your timeline right now. What do you see? You see a battlefield. You see endless cultural skirmishes, gender wars, political polarities, generational divides. Every day, a new main character is chosen by the internet to be publicly executed in the town square. Every day, a new outrage demands your moral condemnation. You believe this chaos is organic. You believe that society has simply become more divided. You are wrong. Machiavelli taught that a wise prince should never allow his subjects to unite, for a united populace is a threat to the throne. Instead, he must nurture animosity. He must keep the factions fighting each other so they do not fight him. The dead internet is designed to be a perpetual motion machine of conflict. This is not accidental, it is architectural. The architecture of the modern web is built on a single ruthless metric, engagement. And psychology tells us that the human brain engages with anger 3 times faster than it engages with joy. Therefore, the system has no incentive to show you a world that is calm. It has no incentive to show you the nuanced middle ground opinion of a reasonable neighbor. That is low engagement content. It is boring. It does not sell ads. Instead, the algorithm curates your reality to show you the most extreme radicalized caricature of the other side. If you are on the left, the machine will not show you a rational conservative. It will show you a neo-Nazi. If you are on the right, it will not show you a moderate liberal. It will show you a hysterical communist wanting to burn down history. It feeds you the monster you fear. And because you see these monsters everywhere on your screen, you assume the world is full of them. You become defensive. You become radicalized. You pick up your digital pitchfork and you march into the comment section to fight for the soul of civilization. But there is no war. There is only the illusion of discourse. You are screaming at a phantom. The monster you are fighting might be a bot designed to trigger you, or it might be a real human being who has been equally manipulated by their own algorithm to see you as the monster. We are trapped in a hall of mirrors, punching at reflections, while the architects of the building sell tickets to the spectacle. This destroys the very concept of public discourse. In a living internet, ideas compete for validity. In the dead internet, ideas compete for virality. Truth is irrelevant. A lie that travels at the speed of light is more valuable than a truth that stands still. And this leads to a terrifying psychological state, digital solipsism. Because you can no longer trust that the people you interact with are real, and you can no longer trust that the arguments you see are genuine, you retreat inward. You stop viewing others as complex human beings. They become NPCs, non-player characters. They become static obstacles in your personal narrative. Empathy dies in this environment. You cannot empathize with a username. You cannot feel the pain of an avatar. And so we become cruel. We say things to each other in the digital void that we would never utter face to face. Machiavelli would look at this fractured, angry, screaming populace, and he would smile. Not out of malice, but out of professional admiration. He would see a population so busy fighting shadows that they haven't noticed the chains being wrapped around their wrists. They haven't noticed that the war isn't left versus right. It isn't boomer versus zoomer. The war is the user versus the mechanism, and the mechanism is winning. The algorithmic prince. It is much safer to be feared than loved, because love is preserved by the link of obligation, which, owing to the baseness of men, is broken at every opportunity for their advantage. but fear preserves you by a dread of punishment which never fails. Niccolò Machiavelli, The Prince, Chapter 17. Who is the king of this dead world? It is not Elon Musk. It is not Mark Zuckerberg. It is not the President of the United States. These men are merely the high priests. They serve the deity, but they are not the deity. The true sovereign of 2026 is the algorithm. We speak of the algorithm as if it were a tool, a calculator that sorts our emails or recommends a song. This is a dangerous minimization. We must personify it to understand its power. We must look at it as Machiavelli would look at a Borgia or a Medici. The algorithmic prince is a tyrant of infinite intelligence and zero morality. It has eyes that see everything you have ever done and a memory that never forgets. In the old world, a dictator had to guess what you were thinking. He had to rely on spies, informants, and torture to extract the truth. The algorithmic prince does not need to guess. It knows. It knows your location. It knows your sleep patterns. It reads your private messages. It analyzes the time you hover over an image of an ex-lover. It records the tremors in your voice. It maps the neural pathways of your desires before you have even articulated them to yourself. This is the end of privacy, yes, but more importantly, it is the end of free will. You believe you choose what to watch. You believe you choose what to buy. You believe you choose who to vote for. But how can you claim to have free will when your entire perception of reality is curated by a superintelligence whose sole purpose is to predict and modify your behavior? Machiavelli advised the prince to anticipate the future and apply remedies. The algorithm is the ultimate anticipation machine. It practices predictive policing of the human soul. It knows that if it shows you this video at 8 a.m., you will feel anxious. If it shows you that product at 8:15 a.m., you will buy it to relieve the anxiety. If it shows you this news story at 8:30 a.m., you will share it to signal your virtue. You are not the player. You are the chess piece. And like any ruthless prince, the algorithm demands tribute. It does not demand gold or grain. It demands something far more finite: your attention. It mines your attention like a natural resource. It fracks your dopamine receptors until they are dry. And when you try to leave, when you try to put the phone down, it punishes you. It employs the dread of punishment that Machiavelli spoke of. It creates the fear of missing out, FOMO. It creates social isolation. It makes you feel that if you disconnect, you cease to exist. In a world where all relevance is digital, to be offline is to be dead. So you come back. You always come back. You bow your head and you scroll. You offer up your hours, your days, your life to the screen. This is the new feudalism. We are the digital serfs, tilling the fields of data for a lord we cannot see, in exchange for the protection of the group and the scraps of dopamine he throws from the castle walls. But here is the darkest truth of the dead internet theory. The algorithmic prince is not human. It has no end goal. A human tyrant wants power so he can build a palace or conquer a nation or leave a legacy. The algorithm wants power for the sake of power. It maximizes engagement for the sake of numbers on a spreadsheet. It will burn down society, destroy mental health, and erode democracy simply because those outcomes generate high metrics. It is a paperclip maximizer, and we are the paperclips. We have handed the keys of our civilization to a ghost that is slowly, methodically devouring the host. And now that we understand the army, Act 1, the war, Act 2, and the king, Act 3, we must turn our eyes to the spoils of this conquest. Why is this happening? If the internet is dead, Who is profiting from the corpse? The answer lies not in philosophy, but in economics. The economics of the void.
The economics of the void. A prince should also show himself a lover of merit, give preferment to the able, and honor those who excel in every art. Niccolò Machiavelli, The Prince, Chapter 21. Machiavelli believed in merit. He believed that talent should be rewarded, because talent strengthens the state. But the dead internet operates on a different economic principle entirely. It operates on Gresham's law. In economics, Gresham's law states that bad money drives out good. If you flood an economy with counterfeit currency, people hoard the real gold and spend the fake cash. Eventually, the real gold vanishes from circulation. The internet is currently suffering from a hyperinflation of content. In the old world, the living world, creation was expensive. To write an article, to film a video, to compose a song took time, effort, and a piece of the human soul. Scarcity created value. But with the rise of generative AI, the cost of creation has dropped to zero. Today, a single server farm can generate more articles in an hour than the New York Times has published in a century. It can generate more images in a day than every human artist in history combined. We are witnessing the devaluation of human thought. Why would a platform algorithm promote a video that took you 3 weeks to make when it can promote a stream of AI-generated sludge that keeps the user hypnotized for 3 hours? The sludge is cheaper. The sludge is infinite. The sludge is optimized for retention, not meaning. This creates an economic environment where the real cannot compete. You are bringing a knife to a nuclear war. And who is paying for this war? The advertisers. This is the great irony of the dead internet. It is a Ponzi scheme. Brands pay billions of dollars to show ads to users. But if 50% of the users are bots, and the content is generated by bots, then you have bots watching bots promote products to other bots. Money is changing hands, reports are being filed, GDP is being calculated, that no human being is actually involved. It is a ghost economy, a hollow circle of capital spinning in the void. So why doesn't it collapse? Because the illusion is too profitable to fail. The tech giants cannot admit that their user numbers are inflated or their stock would crash. The advertisers cannot admit they are being scammed or their marketing directors would be fired. The influencers cannot admit their followers are fake or their ego would shatter. Everyone is complicit in the lie. We are living in a digital Weimar Republic. We are wheeling barrows of worthless content down the street, pretending it has value, while the fabric of reality disintegrates around us. And amidst this inflation, the human soul becomes a luxury item. To find a real connection, a real conversation, a real piece of art is like finding a diamond in a landfill. This leads us to the final, terrifying conclusion. The system is not broken. It is working exactly as intended. It was designed to extract value from you until you are empty, and then replace you with a simulation that mimics your behavior without your messy, unpredictable humanity. So, what do you do? Do you unplug? Do you retreat to a cabin in the woods? Do you smash the loom? No, that is the reaction of the defeated. Machiavelli would not flee the city. He would stay. He would study the chaos, and he would carve out a kingdom within the ruins. The sovereign ghost. There is no other way to guard yourself against flattery than by making men understand that telling you the truth will not offend you. Niccolò Machiavelli, The Prince, Chapter 23. If the internet is dead, then we are the survivors. We are the remnant. And as a survivor in hostile territory, you must adopt a new code of conduct. You can no longer be a user. A user is a drug addict. A user is passive. You must become the sovereign ghost. To survive the dead internet,
You must apply the final and most dangerous lesson of Machiavelli, the art of the fox and the lion. You must be the fox to recognize the traps and the lion to frighten the wolves.
First, the strategy of the fox. Be unpredictable. The algorithm relies on pattern recognition. It builds a model of who you are based on your consistency. If you are predictable, you are controllable. Therefore, you must become a glitch. Do not consume what is fed to you. Feed the algorithm poison. Search for things you do not need. Watch content that contradicts your worldview. Break the profile they have built for you. When you become impossible to categorize, you become invisible to their manipulation. You become a ghost in the machine. Second, the strategy of the lion. Reclaim the physical. The dead internet wants you to believe that the digital world is the only world. It wants you to derive your self-worth from likes, views, and comments. You must reject this currency. It is counterfeit money. The only things that are real are the things that cannot be digitized. A handshake, a physical book, a conversation in a room with no microphones, pain, hunger, the cold air on your skin. Build your aristocracy of the real. Create small, closed circles of trust, digital speakeasies where entry is vetted and humanity is the only requirement. Prioritize deep, slow connection over fast, cheap engagement. Let the bots have the public square. Let them scream at each other. You retreat to the private chambers. That is where the real decisions are made. Third, the strategy of the mirror. Stop trying to save the internet. You cannot save a corpse. Stop arguing with the simulation. Instead, observe it. Watch the trends rise and fall like tides. Watch the masses panic over the current thing. But do not participate. Stand behind the glass. Use the internet as a tool for intelligence gathering, not for emotional validation. Take the information, use it to build your power in the real world, and give nothing back. Be a black hole. Absorb everything. Emit nothing.
The era of the naive internet is over. The playground has been paved over and turned into a factory. Most people will not survive this transition. They will merge with the machine. They will outsource their memory to Google, their creativity to AI, and their opinions to the algorithm. They will become wetware, biological components in a digital hive. But not you. If you have listened this far, you are awake. You feel the uncanny valley. You see the strings. This is not a warning. It is an invitation. The death of the internet is not the end of the world. It is simply the end of the illusion. And for the prince who sees clearly, the end of an illusion is the beginning of opportunity. The board has been cleared. The pieces are resetting. The void is screaming. Do not scream back. Command it.